Hi folks, in this video I'm going to talk about how claim management works in WSO2 Identity Server. If you hear about WSO2 Identity Server for the first time, it's an open source identity and access management server released under the most business friendly Apache 2.0 license. If you go to WSO2.com and then products, identity and access management, you can download the latest version of identity server. At the time of this recording, it is IS 530. To start identity server in your local environment, you need to have JDK 1.8 plus installed, and also you need to set up the Java home properly. Okay, so let's first understand what is meant by a claim. Claim can be any statement made about you by yourself or somebody else. Claim can be about one of your attributes, like one can make a claim about your age, your date of birth, your first name, your last name, your email address, phone number, likewise. At the same time, a claim can be about one of your behaviors. And also, claims can be derived from one of your attributes. If you treat your uh, age is or a date of birth is uh, one of the attributes, then age is something derived from the date of birth. At the same time, if you go to a bar to buy a beer, then you need to prove that you are elder than 21. To do that, either you can share your date of birth, or else there can be a claim made which just says that you are elder than 21 without sharing your age or date of birth with the bartender. That is once again another derived claim about you. In identity federation scenarios, you transport claims or statements about you from one place to another place. Most of the time, these claims are issued by an identity provider, and they are consumed by a service provider or an application. So if you take SAML, when you transport claims from one place to another place, you need to identify each claim. So to identify a claim, you need to have a claim identifier. Same with OpenID Connect. The way you transport claims from one place to another place with OpenID Connect is through JWT or JSON Web Token. Even in that case, you need to have some sort of an attribute ID. If you go beyond identity federation, even in provisioning, if you take SCIM, now to create a user account or to provision a user account with SCIM, you need to pass this attribute. There also you need to identify each attribute with a claim URI known to the SCIM protocol. So that's a very high level overview of claims. Let's see how this works with WSO2 Identity Server. I'm using Identity Server 530 in my demo here. I have already downloaded it. If you go to the Identity Server home/bin directory, then you can start the server with WSO2 server.sh. It will take around 40 to 50 seconds in my machine, and it starts on the default HTTPS port 9443. I haven't done any changes to the default setup. If you want to change the ports, you can do it by changing the offset parameter in repository conf carbon XML. Okay, let's wait till it gets started. Okay, now it's started. I can log into the identity server management console by the URL https localhost 9443. Identity server comes with the default user store, which is running on an embedded LDAP. In the production deployment, you can configure it to talk to an LDAP server, Active Directory, or a database. So here I log in with admin. Those are the default credentials. Okay. Now, to manage claims, you need to go to claims list. This will show you a set of claim dialects. Okay, so before we understand claim dialects, let's go and see what a claim is. So let's go inside this particular dialect, WSO2/claims dialect. Here you can see a set of claim URIs or identifiers. Right? If you look at the mobile, if you expand this, you can see this is the claim URI of the mobile, right? So that means like if you want to share uh, one of your employees' mobile number with an application, in the SAML response that you build from the identity server, the attribute ID of the mobile number will be this, right? So the beauty here is the top level applications need not to worry about how we store the mobile number in identity server. Identity server can store the mobile number in an LDAP, database, or any other identity store. But the way we store the attribute ID we use at the underneath user store level is decoupled from this claim URI. You can map this claim URI to any attribute ID. In this particular case, you can see in the primary user store, the mobile number is referred by the mobile app attribute ID. So in other words, in the embedded LDAP, mobile is the attribute ID corresponding to the user's mobile number. Identity server can be deployed on multiple user stores. In case you have multiple user stores, under each domain name of the user store, you can configure how the mobile number is stored, or else the attribute ID in that particular user store corresponding to the mobile. And all these attribute IDs from each user store will be mapped to a claim URI. You can change this the name of the attribute ID, or you can plug in new user stores, but still you don't need to change anything at the upstream application level. They will still keep on referring the mobile using this particular claim URI. Okay. So in addition to that, whenever you add claims to the identity server, whenever let's say you register a user, at the time of registration, if you want to execute any validation against one of these claims, then you can give a regular expression. For example, if you take email address, right? So when you add user's email address, you need to make sure it's in the right format. Then you can provide a regular expression there to validate whether it's in the right format. So this is how you store claims. Then again, we group claims together and call them a claim dialect. Right? So dialect is how the applications will group claims together. Right? If you take SCIM protocol defines its own set of claim URIs, right? So they are grouped together and we call it SCIM claim dialect, right? So whenever there's a SCIM application who wants to retrieve or who wants to update user's email address, it will use its own uh, claim URI. If you look at this one, the way SCIM identifies uh, IMS is like this, right? mobile number is like this. So if you want to update users mobile number, this is how scheme request would look like. The mobile number in the scheme request will have this particular attribute ID. So in identity server, you can define multiple claim dialects, but the root dialect is WSO2.org dialect, right? So only WSO2.org dialect will have a mapping to the attribute IDs of the underneath user stores. All the application level dialects can create their own claim URI and map it to the WSO2.org claim URI, right? So here you can see phone numbers dot mobile number in a scheme request is mapped to the mobile claim of WSO2 claim dialect, right? So using this mapping, identity server can understand uh, how this mobile number is stored in the underneath user store. If you look at OpenID Connect dialect, it has its own way of identifying the user, right? The phone number is identified like this: phone underscore number, and it's reference to the claim slash telephone dialect in WSO. You claim URI in the WSO2 claim dialect, right? So none of these application level dialects will have a reference to the attribute ID. All the attributes IDs are maintained under the root dialect. So in other words, we have two types of dialects. One is the root dialect, which is the WSO dialect, which has a mapping to the attribute ID. Then other application level dialects which will have a mapping to the root dialect, right? So if you want to change something, you only need to, like if you want to change a regular expression or if you want to change the attribute ID, you just need to update a single page, single place. Okay, so that's how the claim mapping works. Then again, if you want to introduce a new claim mapping, then you can just add claim, right? You need to pick, like if you want to introduce a custom claim URI to the OpenID Connect dialect, you can say, okay, add claim dialect. This is adding a claim dialect. If you go here, add external claim, right? You can add a claim dialect with this one, a new application level dialect. If you want to add a local claim under WSO dialect, use this one. If you want to add an external claim, that is something under, let's say, OpenID Connect dialect, you click there and then you pick OpenID dialect here, and then you can give the external claim URI, which is the claim URI under the OpenID Connect dialect, and then map local claim dialect from mapped local claim URI under the WSO2 claim dialect. Okay, so that is how the claim management works. Let's see how we apply this in at the application level, right? If you go back to the service providers, we have shown you how to configure Salesforce to talk to identity server in one of our previous videos. I'll share that link in the description section of this particular video. If you go there under Salesforce service provider, claim configuration, and if you want to send claims in the SAML response, you can click on add claim URI and pick which claims you want to send. So here we are using WSO2 dialect. So that means any claims that get added to the SAML response will have this particular claim URI. Let's say I want to add email address to the SAML response, right? And I can also pick which should be the subject claim URI in the SAML response. There also I pick email address. Okay, this one. Okay, done. Let's see how this works. Let me copy this URL and go to start a private window. I'll start SAML Tracer. Using SAML Tracer, it's a Firefox plugin. You can see the SAML requests and responses. This URL. Okay, I got read it right in server. Let's log in as Prabhat. Okay, we cannot log in. Check. Okay, maybe the Prabhat user is not provisioned there. Yeah, so the reason is I need to have change the user's email address here. Looks fine. No, it should be Gamage. Okay, because this user has to be provisioned to Salesforce, and in the request it should carry that particular email address, otherwise it will fail, right? So let me try again. Okay, okay, now you can see I'm successfully logged into Salesforce. And if you look at the SAML tracer here, let's have a look at the SAML response, this one. Here you can see I have the email address of the authenticated user in the subject, but I don't see any claim URIs, right? The reason why I don't see any claim URIs is I haven't asked to send that. If you go back here to the service provider, Salesforce, inbound authentication configuration, SAML configuration, edit, and here I need to say enable attribute profile and include attributes in the response always. That's it. Okay. Now let's try to log in again, and let's clean the SSO tracer too. Okay. Now I'm logged into Salesforce again, and this time we should see the attribute IDs. Okay. If you look at the SAML response here, now I can see attribute ID, right? Attribute value is gamage at fasailogin.com, and attribute name is the claim URI from the WSO2 claim dialect, right? So now if you want to change it, like if your application, if Salesforce doesn't like this particular name, if Salesforce has its own claim dialect, this is how you do it. You can go to the management console again, edit this service provider, claim configuration. You can define a custom claim dialect, right? Then you can define your own claim URL. Let's say HTTP. So this is how the Salesforce will understand or read the email from the SAML response. So salesforce.com/email. Okay, this has to be mapped to the email address claim URI in the under the WSO2 claim dialect, and I need to mark this as a requested claim, otherwise it won't get added into the SAML response. And subject claim also I need to pick from Salesforce dialect. So this is a dynamic claim mapping we created for this particular service provider. Done. Now let's see what will happen when I try to log in again. or this one, and if I open up a private browser again, try to log into Salesforce. Okay, I'm logged in, and if I look at the SSO tracer, the summary response. Okay, here you can see I get the email address, but the claim URI or the attribute is salesforce.com/email. So this is an application specific claim URI for Salesforce, and it is mapped to the email address claim URI of the WSO2 claim dialect or the root dialect of the WSO2 identity server product. So that concludes the demo today. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section below. Thank you very much.